everyone, Cherie here again with you today with another layout using the beautiful Kate Kit from Felicity Jane. Today I'm going to be scrapping these photos of my daughter. In her hand she's showing us a video of herself singing a song, and she's actually entered that into the talent quest at school. Now, she's talked about doing this for the last couple of years, but this is the first time she's actually had the courage to go ahead and do something. So definitely worth documenting. I've also got a couple of papers out of the kit. I've got this dotty paper. On the back is the geometric diamond design, which I'll be using. I've also got the black and white stripe, and I think I'll use a piece of this scalloped branding strip as well on the page. We'll see how that goes. I've got my journaling already printed out, and I've chosen my title as well from the glitter foam alphabet. I've got the word stickers to use. I'm sure there'll be one on there I can use for this page, and a few die cuts and the little white acrylic stars because they are super cute. I think I'll also use my fringing scissors on this page today, so that'll be a bit of fun as well. Okay, I'll get into it and I'll be back in a moment. So to start off with, before I put my camera on, I've already added some of the gold Heidi Swap colour shine to the background. So that's nice and dry, and I can go ahead and start playing with my papers. So I'm layering up that black stripe with the geometric pattern behind it, and then I've got two pieces of that dotty paper in behind. Now I'm also going to use my fringing scissors on this strip of white cardstock. So I'm just using those scissors right along the length of that strip, and there you go, just adding a bit of fun to the page. So I'll just tuck that one in underneath that dotty paper at the bottom of those papers. So they're the layers that I'm going with today. So I'm just fiddling around just to get the placement right, and then I'll use my tiny attacher to staple those into place so they don't move around. So two across the top there, and I do try to layer up that fringed piece behind the dotty paper, but my tiny attacher doesn't quite catch it. So what I'll do is just use my double-sided tape just to stick that fringed piece into place as well. Okay, so that one can go in behind there now. And then I'll be able to stick this whole piece onto the cardstock background. So just using tape runner behind that. I'll grab my journaling as well, just to make sure I leave enough spacing for that at the bottom. Okay, so that's on there now. Just making sure I've got that bit centered with my T-square ruler just before I stick it down properly. And then I'll be able to add some stitching with my sewing machine. So just grabbing my machine out, and I'll just run a few lines of stitching across those pieces. Okay, so that's done now. You can see those lines of stitching there. Alright, so now I can stick my journaling piece underneath that fringed strip. I'm just making sure that I stick it in the right place, that I'm not covering up that first line of journaling with the fringing. And I'll use my T-square ruler just to make sure I've got that nice and centered. So just deciding what I will do next. Okay, so I've grabbed this little gold label and I'm cutting it in half just so that I can save half to use on another project. And I'm just going to tuck that in up behind that striped paper. So I'm just adding a little bit more gold to these layers. Just a little gold piece at the top. And now my photos can go on. So I'm going to slightly overlap them, and I'm going to use foam tape behind one and just tape runner behind the other one. So there'll be a little bit of height difference in the photos, just adding some dimension. So you can see the foam tape there. Now I'm just going to layer them up and then I'll be able to stick those down. Okay, so on they go. Okay, so just thinking what I can add to the page next. And I've got this little label, it's a die cut out of the die cut pack that says remember. So I've got foam tape on half of that label and just double-sided tape on the other because there is that height difference in the photo. And now I'm going to add one of the word stickers underneath that. So I've just trimmed it down a little bit so that it was a nicer fit, and that's going on there now too. So next I've got my title going underneath my photos, and I'm using the beautiful gold glitter alphabet that was in the kit, and I've already got them on baking paper just so that I can get the spacing right before I start sticking those down. So again, using my T-square ruler just to make sure I get those letters nice and straight. And there you go, you can see that's on there now. And now I'm going to use those cute little acrylic stars in between those title words. So to do that, I'm using microdots, which it's a lovely sticky piece of acetate, I guess you would call it, and you just press the piece onto the sticky side and it puts a layer of adhesive on the back. So, and they stick down really nicely. I'm quite happy with how they've stuck onto the page, and they feel nice and secure. So at the top I've now got this die cut heart, just sticking that on with some double-sided tape. And then I'll find two more little pieces to create a cluster in that little spot there. Just making sure that's centered before I add the other pieces. Okay, so I've got another one of those acrylic hearts. So again, just using those micro dots. And I've also got one of the little puffy hearts out of the kit as well. So just adding that one at the top there. Okay, so I'm decided to add a little bit more stitching. So I'm just going to add some messy stitching on each side of that journaled piece. There you go. That's all done. So all I need to do now is add in my date. So I thought about just stamping directly onto the page, but then decided to grab one of the little white tags out of my stash. So I'm just going to ink up the month and the year on my date stamp and stamp that onto the tag. Because it's such a small tag, the whole date won't fit, so just the month and the year will do nicely. And then I will go ahead and decide where to put it, and in the end I've scrunched up the twine that's attached to that tag, and I'm going to put it at the top right of my photos there. So I'm going to use my long arm stapler to staple that one into place, only because my little tiny attacher wouldn't quite reach in that far. Okay, so that one's gone on now, and that's my layout complete. I'll also pop a little bit of foam tape under that just to keep that in place as well. So I hope you've enjoyed seeing this layout using the gorgeous Kate Kit. I'll pop a link down below to the Felicity Jane store if you're interested in these items, and I'll be back again really soon with another project to share. Thanks for joining me, and bye for now.